This is Winning Cures Everything. Here's your host, Gary Seegers.
Hey, it is Friday, May 24th, and yes, this is a late version of the show. I am at home. I am your host, Gary Seegers. This is Winning Cures Everything. You can follow me on Twitter at GaryWCE. You can follow the show at Winning Cures. As you can see behind me, we do have a special guest. This is Lincoln. This is my one-year-old son. His mother and my wife is a teacher. And obviously, with today being the last day of school in Mississippi and in Memphis, most of Memphis, it is now time to party. So my wife is gone. I am trying to hold down the fort. It's been a long day, and now here we are. So let me give you a rundown of what you can expect today. Texas A&M hires Ole Miss AD Ross Bjork. Never thought I would say those words. We'll talk about what that means, what happened, etc. Kansas basketball player Silvio de Sousa has been reinstated by the NCAA. I'm going to tell you why that was a good idea, but why I believe there should have been certain stipulations with that. The University of Memphis has responded to Tom Bowen yesterday, so we'll talk about that. And NFL quarterbacks chugging beers. That has become a thing since Aaron Rodgers tried to do it and failed miserably. And then Matt Stafford posted a video and absolutely showed him up. I'm going to talk about the 5 other quarterbacks that absolutely could win a beer chugging competition. I'll give you my top 5, and then we'll go from there. The show, as always, brought to you by betnow.eu. Great online sportsbook. Go check them out for yourself. The layout is fantastic. The odds are great. BetNow.eu. Use promo code WINNING50, and you can actually see it down at the bottom of the screen here. BetNow.eu, promo code WINNING50. You'll get a 50% deposit bonus. So if you put in, $100, they're going to give you $50 to play with. You put in $500, they're going to give you $250. I believe it's up to $1,000. You can get $500 back. So go check that thing out. Let's go ahead and begin discussing the first topic. Topic number 1. Ross Bjork has been hired at Texas A&M. From Ole Miss to A&M. I was the one vouching, at one of many, really, saying that Ole Miss should have fired Bjork because of how messy the situation got with the NCAA. You can go back and read all of my articles from back in 2016, 17, whatever, and you'll see that he had no idea what he was doing with that situation. He let his football coach run the entire department, it felt like. He was taking orders from Hugh Freeze. They felt blessed, basically, to have Hugh Freeze as their coach. And instead of stepping up and handling the situation, they just let it fester and continue to build until finally something came up with Hugh Freeze and they were able to get out of it, right? Now, I understand that there were legal things going on, but this is... I cannot believe that somebody else would hire Ross Bjork. Now, saying that, if you wanted an AD that knows about booster culture, that understands how it works, at Texas A&M has an insane booster culture. They have got all kinds of guys throwing money at that school, throwing money at whatever they need to, right? So if you're A&M, you want somebody that's going to be okay with it, that's going to let it go on. Ross Bjork is your guy. So if you want to be able to do shady stuff and let the AD just stay in the dark about it, Ross Bjork is the perfect way to go. This continues the string of interconference hiring, right? So LSU takes A&M's AD. So now A&M takes Ole Miss's AD, and it's all staying in the family, right? You can make whatever Southeastern jokes you want to make. I'm not going to make them. But that does mean at Ole Miss that all 3 of the people that were in the infamous hostage video that came out in 2017. Hugh Freeze, Chancellor Vitter, and now Ross Bjork are all gone from the University of Mississippi. That is interesting to say the least. Let's move on to topic number 2. Kansas basketball player Silvio de Sousa has been reinstated by the Ncaa. And I'm not going to pull up the official statement and whatnot, but basically he's eligible to play this coming season, which is great. I'm all for the kids. I want the kids to be able to play, especially in a situation like this. He should have been reinstated because he comes, from overseas to play college basketball and has no idea that adults are selling him. They're selling his ability to play basketball. They're selling his services. What I don't like is that the school that paid for him, the people that were involved that paid whatever, did whatever they needed to get him to go to Kansas, well, he's going to get to play at Kansas. Why would you not put a stipulation in there? Put some kind of a clause in there that he is eligible to play this year, but he cannot play at Kansas. That way, the people that were involved that paid for him to play at Kansas do not get rewarded for this. Yes, he had to sit out last year. I get that. But this is still benefiting, right? I don't think I'm crazy on this. I think if you had made him transfer to any other, there's 353 Division I college basketball teams. Just tell him he can play for 352 of them. I don't think that's insane. So I think the NCAA ultimately got it right, but I would have put some more stipulations on this. Let's move into topic number 3. The University of Memphis has responded to Tom Bowen, right? So if you missed the shows earlier in the week, you can go back and watch them. I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but Tom Bowen resigned from the University of Memphis as AD. It still had time left on his contract. They had a weird 6-month extension back in March. His contract was due up in June. They re-upped him for 6 months, and their excuse was because they didn't know what the AAC's TV deal was going to look like. So they get all that stuff done, blah, 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 blah. Well, he resigns. Story comes out that there was a letter that was sent to the university president, Dr. David Rudd, and in that letter, there were allegations of maybe some shady stuff going on with another university employee, a female employee, where they are flirty. They are, she's getting his hotel key early. They always sit together at different functions, et cetera, right? So that letter gets delivered to the university 4 days before Bowen resigns. Now, Bowen came out, all of this stuff came out in an open records request. So Freedom of Information Act, all that kind of stuff. The Daily Memphian is the one that did it. And all of this stuff comes out, and Bowen responds and says that the letter was never presented to him, it was never validated, and he said, there's no truth to this, it's petty, it's ridiculous, I did not resign because of this. The university has come out and said he resigned in lieu of an investigation. Like, this is why he resigned. Now, if you were the university and that's not true, you are opening up a whole can of legal worms, right? Because you can be sued for this. You can have all of these things go on. It's a dangerous thing. Initially, you look at it and you think, if you're the university, just leave it alone. Like, I understand where you have to give documents like these to the press when they request. That's the reason they created the Freedom of Information Act. But, man, stay out of it. Give over the redacted one and then no comment. There's no reason to comment on this. It makes Bowen look bad. It makes the university look bad. But, my goodness, Bowen was up for the Southern Conference Commissioner's job. I don't think there's any way that he can get that at this point, because what this entails basically in this letter is that there was a subordinate that worked at the university that may or may not have been having a relationship with Tom Bowen. That you can't get away from that in today's age, right? So there's a lot going on with this. It's going to get messier. It's going to get just really bad, and I feel like the University of Memphis maybe should have just no commented, but they've opened up the can of worms. We'll see what comes out of it. From there, let's go into topic number 4. NFL quarterbacks that could hammer a beer like an offensive lineman. Now, Aaron Rodgers, he was at the Bucs game. One of his offensive linemen was at the Bucs game. The O-lineman absolutely crushed the beer in like 3 seconds. Aaron Rodgers had about 3/4 of his beer left, took forever to try and chug it, and then didn't even fit. He just quit on the chug. You don't quit on the chug. If you've been called out, you don't quit, right? So you got to keep chugging. You got to keep going. I'm for this competition. Oh, on top of that, Christian Yelich, Milwaukee Brewers player, he came up, absolutely killed a beer. Killed it. He chugged it like a champ. And then Matt Stafford, he sees this on TV. He's at a bar. Somebody's filming him. He takes his beer. He chugs it. Now, you would expect that from a Georgia boy, right? So, good on Matt Stafford for chugging that beer. But I am game for a competition like this. I like beer chugging. I like to see NFL quarterbacks do this. I would love to see any famous people chugging beer, right? I don't know who wouldn't. The NFL could absolutely capitalize on top of this. ESPN, NFL Network, whoever. You put this on TV, there will be millions of people watching this. Here is my guess for the top 5 NFL quarterbacks that could absolutely chug a beer. I've got Ben Roethlisberger as number 1. Do you think there is any doubt that Roethlisberger would absolutely hammer a Bud Light? That's it. You give that boy a cool snack, he is downing it in 3 seconds flat. He's humongous for one. He's built like an offensive lineman. But for 2, you know he's a drinker. You know he goes out and pounds these things. So number 2, I've got Baker Mayfield. Guy's a leader. Yeah, he's a bit smaller. But you're telling me that dude doesn't party? I don't think so. This guy would down a beer in no time. Number 3, Josh Allen. There is nothing else to do in Wyoming except for ranch and drink beer. And that is exactly what he would. I'm telling you, Josh Allen is the same as Ben Roethlisberger. Huge guys, built like a tank, and I'm sure could absolutely demolish a cool snack. Number 4, Andrew Luck. Now, you may think, Andrew Luck, I don't know. He seems kind of like a chill, reserved, whatever guy. I'm telling you, this guy, again, another guy built like a tank. This guy could absolutely down a Bud Light, a Coors Light. You put a beer in front of him, he could hammer it. You want to be part of the show, I see. Lincoln wants to be involved in the show. I'll go on and tell you this. My number 5 was Kirk Cousins. You may be surprised at that. There may be others. Blake Bortles I was thinking about, but I don't know if he could handle that. But Kirk Cousins, I think, would be the kind of guy that could go out and absolutely put a few down. I'm going with Kirk Cousins on this one. Let's jump into daily gambling picks. And I've got them pulled up here. Here we go. All right, so these are for this evening. If you want to go over to the website, there will be more later. But here we go. These are the daily gambling picks for this evening, so you might want to get these in fairly quickly. Some of these start in like 15, 20 minutes. Rockies team total under 6.5 against the Orioles. The A's minus 1.5 runs against the Mariners tonight. Rangers team total over 3.5 against the Angels. The Twins minus half a run in the first 5 against the White Sox. And then the Braves and Cardinals, I'm going over 10 runs tonight. Those two can score at will. So go jump on those. You can go to winningcureseverything.com, go up to gambling picks in the navigation bar, and check that out for yourself. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for jumping in. Happy Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be a good time. Hope you enjoy having Monday off work. Go on and subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Leave us some nice reviews on Apple Podcast. Share the show out. Tell everybody about it. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. I appreciate you guys for being here. We will see you again soon. Thanks for checking out Winning Cures Everything. If you want to keep up with us, hit subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Visit the website at winningcureseverything.com, or you can like us on Facebook or follow us at Winning Cures, at Gary WCE, or at Chris B. Giannini on Twitter. Share out the show, leave a nice review, and make sure to comment and tweet at us.